guys, it's Shara from Woodshop Diaries, and in this video, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. Lately, a lot of you have been asking about small shop projects, especially workbenches. I recently shared a fairly large workbench idea that a lot of you really loved, but said you just didn't have the space. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I built out Kreg's smallest mobile workbench. Now, obviously, this idea can be adapted to your own workbench. You don't have to get the Kreg one, but just in case you're interested in your options for building one out, I'm going to show you in their smallest version. So if you guys are ready to get building, let's go.
Right off the bat, this video was not sponsored by Kreg. In full transparency, they recently sent me one of their new workbench tops to go on this workbench frame that I already had. But they did not require a video in exchange, and I bought the wheels for it a couple months ago out of my own pocket. So I'm definitely not trying to sell you on one of these with this video. I simply made it to show those who may be considering getting one a way to build it out. This actually makes a pretty great little workbench if you don't have a lot of space. So to get started, I assembled the workbench frame according to the instructions included with it. This is super simple, just 4 legs, 4 braces at the top, and 4 at the bottom. The workbench comes with adjustable feet, but I swapped them out for caster wheels to make it mobile. Then I attached their 1.5-inch hardwood top, leaving 2-inch overhang on all sides. If you're curious about these products, I'm going to link them all in the video description. Now at this point, you can certainly leave this as is, but there's so much wasted space in the middle here. So I decided to add a drawer and a shelf. When I built this, I installed the drawer stuff first, then added the bottom shelf, but I recommend doing the opposite and installing the shelf before the drawer. You'll see why later in the video. To install the drawer, first I needed to add some bracing around the top. I used scrap 3/4-inch sanded pine plywood that I had left over from taking a project apart from the past. I trimmed down a 5.5-inch wide strip and cut it to fit between the 2 back legs of the workbench frame. These legs have pre-drilled holes throughout that allow you to screw through them to attach wood, just like this. I installed this panel along the back side, flush to the top. Then I measured the space at the front of the legs and cut 2 small spacer blocks to fit there. These were about 1 7/8 inches wide. I screwed these in just like the back panel, and now that the front and back pieces are in, I can add the sides, which is what I'm going to be mounting the drawer slides to later. I measured the distance between the front and back pieces, cut 2 side panels this length, then drilled pocket holes into the ends to install. The side panels will be flush to the inside at the front, but they need to be square at the back. Since the front pieces are about 1 7/8 inches wide, I measured at the back 1 7/8 inches from the inside of each leg and drew a line there. That way, I'll know where to line up the back of this piece when I install it. It's really important that these sides get installed square so that the drawer will be able to slide in and out smoothly. I installed the 2 side panels between the front and back pieces using pocket holes and screws. Once these were in, I made sure that they were square to the back panel, then I flipped it on its side to install the 16-inch ball bearing drawer slides. I've got a whole video that I'll link in the description below about how to install drawer slides, just in case you're curious. I screwed these in so that they were 3/4-inch inset from the front edge and flush along the bottom of the side panels. And now it's time for my favorite part of the build, the drawer box. I cut 3/4-inch plywood to about 4 inches wide, then I cut them into 4 pieces to assemble the main box. For all the dimensions, I've linked the free building plans for this project in the video description below. I assembled a 4-sided box with pocket holes and screws first. Now, normally you see me cut dados for drawer boxes, and that's usually my preferred way of building them. But since this was just a simple shop project, instead of cutting dados for the drawer bottoms, I just cut and glued and nailed a 1/4-inch plywood panel onto the bottom side. Either way would work totally fine. I just saved a few extra minutes in the process from not cutting the dados. Once the box was assembled, I actually planned to add some organizers and dividers inside. But once I kind of laid out my screws and all the accessories that I planned to put in here, I decided against them and just left it as is. The screw boxes fit perfectly in the open space without them. So at this point, I had already kind of got all my screws and accessories situated, and I didn't want to unload everything out of the drawer box. So I used the little tabs on the side of the drawer slides to remove the front inside section of the slides. Then I mounted these directly to the sides of the drawer box. Check out my video linked in the description for more information on installing drawer slides. Once these were on, I slid the drawer back into the slides in the workbench. To finish up the drawer, I cut another piece of plywood for the drawer front. I installed this with about 1/8 of an inch gap on both sides and along the top. I just held this in place, opened the drawer, then used some screws through the inside to hold it. And finally, I added a simple modern drawer pull. Now, here's where I actually should have started this project instead of ended it. I measured and cut a piece of 3/4 inch plywood to fit inside this workbench frame to rest on these bottom braces. I actually cut this piece just slightly undersized so that I was sure it would fit. Funny enough, even though I cut it to fit perfectly inside, it wouldn't actually go in with the drawer in the way.
You know what? I'm going to take this stupid drawer out to get this shelf in.
Now, I thought if I removed the drawer box, it would work, but it wouldn't.
Are you kidding me? I'm going to have to take the drawer slide off too? This was not... This was not well thought out.
So then I thought if I removed one of the drawer slides, it would fit. Still wouldn't.
Are you kidding me? Ah!
I ended up having to remove one of the whole side panels just to get this bottom shelf to sit in place. So that's why I recommend adding the shelf first before all the drawer stuff. Once the shelf was in, I reinstalled everything that I had to remove, then flipped it over to access the underside to secure it in place. Just like the tops, these bottom braces have pre-drilled holes to allow you to drive screws through to add pieces of wood into the frame. I used a few 3/4 inch screws through these holes to secure the shelf in place. Then I flipped it back upright and it was ready to use. This simple workbench design allows you to store some bulkier items like circular saws, drills, and pocket hole jigs underneath for easy access, and then the drawer is great for storing those smaller items and accessories like screws, drill bits, and shelf pins. I hope this was a good idea starter to share one of many ways that you can think about customizing this type of workbench. It may be small, but with some creativity, you can make it quite versatile. If you want to keep up with the latest projects and plans, be sure to subscribe to the channel and follow along. Thanks so much for watching, friends, and until next time, happy building!